For years, the secondhand book trade looked like the quietest corner of the knowledge economy. Dusty shelves, forgotten titles, handwritten prices, patient collectors. Then artificial intelligence arrived, and suddenly some of those old books acquired a new kind of value. Not literary value, data value. The reason is simple. Modern AI systems are trained on enormous quantities of language. Websites, articles, code, documents, books. But the internet is changing fast. More of it is being produced, edited, or contaminated by machines. For AI companies trying to improve their models, older human-written material can be especially attractive because it comes from a world before generative AI began flooding the web. That changes the economics of the bookshelf. A book that nobody has requested for 20 years may still contain something valuable. Unusual vocabulary, specialist knowledge, historical phrasing, regional language, forgotten arguments, or simply long stretches of carefully edited human prose. And that is where the story becomes uncomfortable. Court records in the United States revealed that Anthropic, the company behind Claude, acquired millions of printed books while building a large research library. Contractors removed bindings, sliced pages from the spines, scanned them, converted the text into digital form, and discarded the physical copies. This was not the romantic preservation of literature. It was industrial ingestion. In June 2025, a federal judge ruled that using lawfully acquired books to train Anthropic's AI models could qualify as fair use because the process was transformative. The court also accepted the digitization of purchased physical books under specific conditions. But the same ruling drew a hard line around piracy. Anthropic had also obtained millions of books from pirate libraries. The court refused to treat those acquisitions as lawful merely because they were later useful for AI research. That dispute eventually produced a massive settlement, $1.5 billion covering roughly 500,000 works. The debate is not really about whether machines are allowed to read. Humans learn by reading too. The harder question is what happens when reading becomes extraction at industrial scale, when one company can absorb the linguistic work of thousands of writers in order to build a commercial system worth billions. For authors, the concern is obvious. Their work can help improve a product without creating a traditional sale, license, royalty, or even visible acknowledgement. For booksellers, the situation is stranger. Bulk orders can be welcome, old inventory moves, cash arrives, shelves clear. Yet the final destination of those books may not be another reader, a university, or a collector. It may be a scanner. And once the pages become data, the physical book may have served its final purpose. This is why the second-hand market suddenly matters to the AI debate. It exposes the collision between two very different ideas of value. To a reader, a book is an experience. To a collector, it is an object. To a historian, it is evidence. To an AI company, it can also be training material. None of those meanings automatically cancels the others. But the balance of power is changing. The companies building artificial intelligence are not only competing for chips, engineers, electricity, and computing power. They're competing for language itself. And some of the richest reserves of human language are not sitting in futuristic data centers. They're sitting quietly in old wooden shelves, waiting for someone to decide what they are worth. But the balance of power is changing. The companies building artificial intelligence are not only competing for chips, engineers, electricity, and computing power. They're competing for language itself. And some of the richest reserves of human language are not sitting in futuristic data centers. They're sitting quietly on old wooden shelves, waiting for someone to decide what they are worth. That may be the irony of the AI revolution. Machines presented as engines of tomorrow are reaching backward for the intellectual residue of yesterday, turning neglected paper into fuel for the next generation of intelligence.